Welcome to Fetty's Kitchen. Today we are going to be making chicken cordon bleu meatball pasta. I've made it before. It is absolutely amazing. If you like chicken cordon bleu, you're going to like this. So in front of me I have my ingredients that we need. We need ground chicken, which I have in here, 1 1/4 pound. We need 1 egg beaten. So it's just cracked in the dish and then mixed with a fork. A 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. I did use the Italian style, but you could just use plain breadcrumbs if that's what you have. A 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. 2 tablespoons of parsley, fresh, or 1 tablespoon, maybe a little bit less, of dehydrated parsley that you get in the store. 2 cloves of garlic, which I already have prepped here, minced, and then some salt and pepper. And also for the meatballs, we need some sliced ham that is cut into smaller pieces, and we also need some diced Swiss cheese, and that's going to go in the center of the meatballs. So first we need to start by making the meatballs themselves. And for making the meatballs, we're going to start adding all these ingredients. Now we're going to add some of the breadcrumbs and the Parmesan cheese, parsley. The egg is going to be our binding ingredient. It's going to hold everything together. Got our salt and pepper going in, and now we have our garlic. Now, honestly, you can use a fork, you can use a spoon, but really my hand is going to be the best for me to mix this up with. My hands are cleaned. I washed them for 20 seconds before I started working with all of this. I don't have gloves. If you did have gloves, you could certainly use them. But again, I just made sure that my hands were absolutely clean. I'm going to give this a really good mix. I want to make sure all those ingredients are really incorporated well, using my hand, turning around. Pounding that down in there. Now after we get this mixed together, and that looks pretty good, after we get that mixed together, one of the things that you're going to do now is we need to start making these into golf ball size shapes. So I'm going to bring my dish over here, and you could use a scoop, cookie scoop, a little bit larger. Cookie scoops tend to be a little bit small, but they do have different sizes. This is a pretty good size. What we want to do is we want to start making a bunch that are going to be this size, just for the sake of purpose. What I'm going to do is, instead of making a whole bunch of them first, I'm going to make one, and I'm going to show you how you would assemble them. You're going to flatten it out. Okay. You're going to take your piece of ham. You're going to take a piece of cheese. Kind of put it right in the center. Wrap the ham up around the cheese. And then you're going to bring the chicken up around it. You want to make sure the ham and the cheese are really enclosed in the meatball. Okay, wrap it around, put it down on here. I'm going to make all of this up. After it's done, I'm going to put it in the fridge, and I'm going to let them chill for about 20 minutes. What that's going to do is let this kind of firm up and really kind of hold its shape, so when it comes to frying, they're going to be nice and together, okay? See you in a bit. So now I'm going to fry my meatballs. I actually already did the first batch through. I have the pan hot first, and then I put in the oil. So hot pan, cold oil, food shouldn't stick. And I need to let the meatballs cook. Probably took about 8-10 minutes. I knew that they were done. I used my meat thermometer. 165 is what you need to get your ground chicken to be set to for it to be completely cooked through. With those being done, I actually set my oven to kind of keep these warm, and so I put them on a clean pan, and they're going to go into my oven just to stay warm while I get the rest of them done. At the same time that these are frying, I also started my boiling water for my pasta. Now the recipe calls for serving it over penne pasta. I didn't have any, I had rotini, and that'll be just fine. You want something that's going to kind of grab the sauce, which this definitely will do. In the past, I've also made homemade pasta. I just didn't have the time today to do that. Right, so now we're going to make our sauce. I cannot tell you how heavenly my kitchen smells right now. So in our sauce, or for our sauce, in the pan, I didn't clean it out or anything. I'm just going to melt some butter in here, and I'm going to add the garlic. And that's going to make it really happy. I'm just going to let it go for just a small amount of time. I got the temperature down to like a medium-low. The brown you're seeing is really what's coming up from the pan itself. It's not that the butter's burning. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make what's known as a roux. So I'm going to add flour in here. It's going to make like a paste. Soak up all that fat. And the next thing is I need to add in chicken stock. Now, we're not going to use broth. You could use broth, but what's nice about stock is a little bit more fuller of a flavor. And I got 2 cups worth here. I'm going to turn my heat back up here. And I'm going to whisk it here, or move it around. I got the spatula. I'm going to use this whisk. This is the right whisk to use for a pan because it is flat. I don't want to use my balloon whisk. So I could have let that roux go for a little bit longer, got it a little more brown if I wanted to. I brought out the flavor a little bit more. I'm going to mix it now until it's smooth. And once I get it smooth, which it looks like we're getting there, that flour is going to act like my thickening agent in this. See, if I use this, there's only one particular spot you can see that's really going to hit the bottom of the pan, whereas this, so much of it does. So that's why this is a better sort of whisk to use. I could use something like my spatula. That would work too. If I don't have a whisk. I could use a fork too. Ooh, that looks nice. Okay. So now I'm going to add 1 cup of heavy cream. And I'm going to whisk this as it goes in. I'm going to let this cook for a little while. After I let it cook for a little bit, I want to see some bubbles kind of come to the surface. Again, I'm at a medium heat right now, so I'm going to let some bubbles come to a surface. I'm going to let it thicken up is what I'm going to do. Let that flour really start to work. I don't want to go to a high heat, and I do want to constantly stir because of the milk that's in there. Otherwise it's going to burn on the bottom. So I am going to stir it like this. I'll stop. I'll wait until some bubbles come. Once it kind of starts to come to a bubble, I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. I'm going to add some Dijon mustard, some salt and pepper, and then I have some cheese, mozzarella, Swiss, and cheddar that I'm going to end up putting into this as well, and then bring my meatballs back. So I'll let this cook for a little bit, and then I'll bring it back and we'll do the final steps. Okay, we're on our final steps. I let this cook for about 5-10 minutes because I wanted it to thicken up the sauce. And you can see how that flour really did that heart. And I just added the salt and pepper and the mustard in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this off, and I'm going to add the cheese. Now I'm going to take my spatula, because if I take my whisk, this cheese is really going to get mixed into the whisk. It's going to get kind of hard to get that out of there. Heaven. Haven't been there, but I'm assuming this is what it smells like. All right. Nice, creamy sauce. I got it fairly well mixed in. Love the blend of cheeses. They're going to play so well together. When I put the second batch of meatballs in the oven, I did turn it down to 200 because I didn't want it to overcook the meat. I don't want these meatballs dry. I want them nice and tender. Like I said, if you like chicken cordon bleu, you are going to love this. All right, so over here I have my pasta. And what I'm going to do, roll this right out onto it. Again, amazing. Amazing. You can make the meatballs smaller if you want. All I can tell you is yum.